this is another Not in Class interview, and here we have...
Tierney Bates, Director of Development for the College of Architecture and Design.
Okay, well first, could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Oh, my background. Well, originally from Cleveland, Ohio. Graduated of the University of Akron, where I got my bachelor's degree in mass media communications with a minor in African American history, and then I also received my master's in higher education administration from the University of Akron. Go Zips.
So what are you doing over here in Tennessee?
I was recruited down here to good old Knoxville, Tennessee to work for the University of Tennessee. Knew a lot about the University of Tennessee because I almost went to grad school here, so I knew a little bit about the university. Didn't know a lot about Knoxville as a community, but did know about the university overall. But came down here, this April will be 5 years.
Oh, so what did you do first?
I worked at Baldwin Wallace College in residential life, and then from Baldwin Wallace College with the Bowling Green State, and I was at Bowling Green State for 3 years prior to coming here to University of Tennessee.
Okay, what did you do there?
Bowling Green State, I worked in residence life and housing, and it was one of the greatest experiences I ever had. Had some great supervisors, great students, the culture, and just the feeling of working at an institution like Bowling Green was very good because it was one of those things that it's a personal school, I guess you can say. You can personally get to know your faculty, your staff, the students. It's a small knit community because it's a school in the middle of nowhere. So you know, school. It's about 20,000 students at the school, and it's about 8,000 people in the city overall, where everybody either works or live around the school. So it's one of those things when summertime goes and students go, it's very quiet. But
that's nice.
But it was a unique institution and probably one of the premier institutions in the state of Ohio, especially for Northwest Ohio. So.
And you worked in housing, correct?
Worked in housing for 3 years.
Were you what did you do?
I was a hall director.
Oh,
so,
you were a hall director?
Yeah.
Why didn't you do that here?
You know, hall director is a training ground. Again, my master's degree is in higher education administration. So it's the training ground if you want to go into student affairs. Because it gives you many hats, many tools that you'll need as you progress on in your career, you know, when it comes to mentoring, when it comes to supervising, budgeting, dealing with conflict resolution management, all those great things you will get as a hall director. So that's why I did it, and I was actually in the biggest hall, McDonald Hall at Bowling Green State University there, and then also eventually went and got another hall, which was a great hall because it was different. It was freshmen on one side and seniors on the other side. So yeah, it's totally different, but very unique because I had some great students that were RAs for me. I had some great graduate students to work with me and stuff like that. So didn't want to stay in residence life though. I want to go and work in minority affairs or minority student affairs or in multicultural development, whatever terminology you use at whatever institution. I knew that I wanted to be in that realm and work in that realm of the Division of Student Affairs. But in fact, there was never nobody that looked like me. I remember going to the University of Akron that was either a faculty member or staff member. There weren't a lot of black faculty staff, let's just say that. And the ones that you did have a great opportunity to build a relationship, to this day I still keep in contact with from the University of Akron. But also at the same time, they were great role models and mentors for me. And so that was one of the things that pushed me into actually working in higher education. Just one, seeing that there's always that need for role modeling and mentoring especially for our African American students. And at the same time that I was looking in that most predominantly white institutions don't do a good job of cultivating the talent of African American faculty and staff and getting them bridged and ingrained with our undergraduate students. But not only that, our graduate students, and then also on the administrative side of the house. You know, we need some of our best and brightest to be leading institutions, and not just our HBCUs, but also our predominantly white institutions. So that was one of the reasons why I jumped into the field.
Okay. And I know you mentioned minority student affairs,
and
I know you were in the office, so what did you do?
I came here in spring of 2005 from Bowling Green State University to become the assistant director for minority student affairs. I came here, it was only on an interim basis. Actually, a lot of people probably don't even know that. It was only for 1 year. It was interim basis. They needed someone. I interviewed and was hired off the job before I even left from my interview. Said, let me think about it for a week and negotiated everything, and 30 days later I was actually moving here. Just came in and hit the ground running, seen a lot of needs that this institution, but also the office needed, because it seemed like we had everything in place. It was just a matter of putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And really getting students engaged in what it was like from my experience, you know, being an undergraduate student, but also learning what their experience has been here at the university and where they come from and what they bring to the table. And also knowing that, again, I want to be a role model and mentor to let them know, like, hey, anything you want to talk about, anything you need help on, I'm going to have your best interests at heart because I want to see you succeed. And so your success is my success and vice versa. And I think it's very ingrained here that we really push our students and really put our students in the best possible position overall. And really, the way I look at it is exposure. I call it the 3 E's: education, experience, and exposure. And really, for our students to get the education, get the experience, and get the exposure that all students should have.
And you were in that for 4 years?
I was in that role for 3 years, a little bit over 3 years before I was recruited over to the development side of the house. And that ended up, how that ended up happening is because I was always raising funds. When I first started the Black Issues Conference here, we didn't have any money. So I was raising funds for that. And then I started building strong relationships with a lot of local companies and just businesses. And so I had to reach out to them. And, you know, diversity is a big issue just in this country overall and on campuses. And people talk a good game, I say, about diversity, but I'm a person that believes in let's put it into play, let's see how it works out. And so at that time, I was doing a lot of different things with a lot of different companies to bring them in-house, to put them in front of our students and vice versa, our students in front of these companies, and meet the executives, meet the HR managers and stuff like that to say we have the best and brightest students here at the University of Tennessee, you need to be recruiting them. And from that, obviously they were, you know, giving money towards programs, and we were able to raise some dollars to offset costs because it really didn't have any budget to do anything. And so from that, it was funny that when they seen how much money I was bringing in, I was in the office over in the towers, and somebody's like, "How are you getting all this money?" And so I had a conversation with some people because they actually did a development council meeting actually here at the university at the Black Cultural Center, and had a conversation and did a presentation for them on what the office does and our students and all other great stuff. And had a conversation with a young lady there who was the assistant vice president. Said, you should consider going into development. You have the personality and blah, 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 and you'll be good. And I sat in her office and we had a conversation, and I was like, well, you know, opportunity arises, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And sure enough, got a phone call probably about a month and a half later saying, oh, we have an opportunity. We'd love for you to interview with it because we think we would feel great. And I guess you say the rest is writing on the wall. That's history.
Now you're director.
Yeah, I went to the College of Engineering as assistant director for development. Okay. Left there and then came over here to the College of Architecture and Design for the director of development. And I've been here now in this role for 4 months.
Okay, cool. So what else do you do besides raise money?
I do everything. I mean, I'm not a person that sits by, and I'm passionate about a lot of different things. You know, one, seeing our students succeed, working with our students. I'm passionate about business and business education. Reason I say that is because people got to understand that no matter what field you go into, there's some business component to it. Whether it's, you know, you're an artist, whether it's, you know, you want to be an architect, or whether, you know, a designer, or whether you're in psychology, whatever it may be, there's a business component to it. And a lot of people don't think about that. Like, well, what do you mean by Tierney? And sometimes I have to really break it down to them to get them to see that aspect of it. But in the city of Knoxville, I think that's another reason why I've been here so long, because like the talent that I've seen that come through the University of Tennessee is that we lose some of our best and brightest because they come here and it's kind of like a training ground, and they're snatched up and away. And I've been here because of my influence of being involved in the community, which I fell in love with the Knoxville community overall. Because when I first moved here, I didn't know a soul. And so I was just coming to work, getting to know everybody on the campus atmosphere, but not in the city. And that's when I decided, like, well, people who always complain about stuff, you know, I hear students complain, you know, there's nothing here. And for me, and like what you guys are doing right now is a prime example of you can either complain or you can do something to offset it. You know what I'm saying? Be the change that you want to see. And that's what you guys are doing right now. So that's what kept me here in Knoxville, is saying, okay, there's all these young black professionals here in the city of Knoxville, and they're complaining about certain things and having a support network and all this other stuff. So we start formulating that. And when we start formulating that, you actually build strong relationships and friendships with a lot of different people. You start getting active in a lot of different community endeavors, and just things start happening, and you kind of feel very inclined to be a part of all these great things. And so not only am I happy to work for the University of Tennessee, but also happy to be part of the Knoxville community and make the change that is necessary to make this a great growing community. So.
I believe you were running for something not too long. I know I saw the sign.
Yeah, again, I'm like you guys. People complain about their government and complain about, not getting certain things and information and all that stuff. And I've always been a political junkie. I've always paid attention to politics, whether it's here, whether it's back home where I'm originally from, the whole nine. And you know, it's the old saying, you kind of get inspired. Well, you know, the 2008 election kind of inspired a lot of people.